Saratoga could look ahead 250 years and see this parade happening today. What do you think would surprise or maybe reassure them about where the Army has gone?
Well, I mean, first of all, they would see the flag. And of course, the flag was officially christened, I think, 2 years after the Army was. So there was this proliferation of early flags. But they'd see the flag and they'd immediately would recognize it and say, hey, that's the American flag. Well, you know, look at that. Look at this amazing equipment. Look at how disciplined these soldiers are. Look at how magnificently equipped they are. I think that they would be very impressed and they would think, wow, we did that. We set the foundation for that. I think they'd be very proud and quite pleased at having kicked all that into motion.
And right now, the pre-programming appears to be ready to kick off any moment. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on that as you see the crowd starting to gather right there at Constitution Ave, where that's a different angle, a different view. That looks like it might be right behind the Lincoln Memorial, where they're coming over from Virginia, marching over to get into place from Virginia. The parade, as far as we can tell, has not officially kicked off as of yet. There's a look at the stage right there where we will likely see President Trump, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, address the nation. And there you have the Joint Chiefs, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Daniel Kane, coming out. And if he's going to speak, we will bring you to him. And we're going to tune in right now and bring you the live look right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Pete Hegseth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, accompanied by the Second Lady of the United States, Usha Vance, and their 3 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and First Lady Melania Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, would you please rise for the singing of our national anthem?
the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, where the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets would go, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the
We had an army.
They started as a small, unorganized group of shop owners and farmers, but they fought the most powerful army in the entire world to a standstill in Concord, Lexington, and Bunker Hill.
Then our Continental Congress chose George Washington as general of our Continental Army.
But it wasn't until 1 year later, on July 4th, 1776, that news arrived of the signing of our Declaration of Independence.
Now we had a new army and a new nation.
With little gunpowder, no shoes, bloody feet, few cannons, little training, and even less food.
Valley Forge started in December. They went into winter camp in December of 1777. Approximately 2,000 Americans died that winter of disease.
They lived through hell, but they never ever gave up. Not this army, not this first American army.
Finally, Washington and his army arrived, here at Yorktown, where they had General Cornwallis and his powerful British army trapped in this city against the sea.
All of the preparation that Washington has learned through the course of those 6.5 years meets its full force here at Yorktown, and he employs it brilliantly.
Sailing from the Caribbean, the French Navy arrived and took on the British fleet.
Washington decided to make his move. Our men began digging to get closer and closer to the fort, finally getting within rifle and cannon range. Naturally, George Washington chose to set off our first cannon shot.
The British had two small forts in front of the main fort. They were called redoubts 9 and 10.
Then, on the moonless night of October 14, the American and French forces attacked the redoubts. The hand-to-hand combat with bayonets, knives, and fists was bloody, to say the least. But within an hour, we were victorious.
And as the sun came up the next day, Cornwallis looked out and realized he was in serious trouble. So he prepared an all-out, desperate counterattack.
It didn't work, and the British were forced to surrender.
We were supposed to lose to the best army and the largest and most professional navy in the world.
But our young army had won the war and our freedom. The freedom we hold so dear. And 250 years later, for what started as a ragtag group of shop owners, has now become the most powerful army in the world.
Today, many things are very different from that army here at Yorktown, but one thing remains the same. An undying passion, guts, and love for our country remains deep in the heart of today's army. When I look into their faces, you can see it. That will never change. God bless the United States Army, and God bless the United States of America.
新唐人美国陆军250周年的大阅兵的直播现场，我是主持人周子定。那今天的节目将由我和马克为大家带来。马克你好。
子定好，观众朋友大家好。
那我们现在看到现场的直播已经开始了。
Hello。
那现在出现了。
Was a descendant of Franz Gruber, who composed Silent Night. It was originally written to be the 5th Artillery Regimental song titled The Caissons Go Rolling Along, and in 1956 the lyrics were revised by Harold Arberg as the official song of the U.S. Army, and then retitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. Pershing Zone carries on its century-old legacy, playing a march that brings pride to every soldier, the Army Song.
各位观众朋友，现在我们看到的是直播的现场，不知道马克，你看到这样的大阅兵有什么感想呢？
The unit was dubbed the Old Guard by Major General Winfield Scott during a victory parade in Mexico City after the Mexican War. It is the U.S. Army's official ceremonial unit and presidential escort, conducting year-round tactics.
各个时代的这个部队都会出来，而且有他们的装备，我倒是觉得很期待能看一下、回顾一下美国的这个战争的历史啊，军队的历史。
我们现在看到就是 M1 埃布拉姆斯主战坦克啊，是军绿色的涂装，其实现实生活中很少看到，基本上看到它在伊拉克都是这种土黄色的，或者是其他的
土黄色的。
对，并且非常干净啊！我们现在看到视频或者其他这个坦克一般都比较脏，对。可以看到现场观众很多啊，都在拿着摄像机和手机拍摄现场的视频。那其实呢，今天的天气预报说可能会有阵雨，但是目前看起来啊，现场的天气状况是比较良好的，并没有下雨。各位观众朋友们，大家好，现在出现的应该就是美国独立战争时期的方阵了。美国独立战争是美国第一场战争，也是最重要的战争啊。第一枪是在莱克星顿打响的，之后呢，美国大陆军在邦克山迎战英军。其实在整个独立战争期间，美国经历了相当大的困难。那大陆军在华盛顿将军的带领下，不得不躲入伏击谷，长达多年的时间。最终，华盛顿带领军队在新泽西的特伦顿战役中获胜，之后在北部的萨拉托加以及南部的约克城战役获胜之后，奠定了独立战争的胜利。所以我们可以现在看到画面，就是该方阵大概有40人穿戴着独立战争时期的服装在进行阅兵。
对。
That legacy actually lives on today with the U.S. Army Fife and Drum Corps, part of the 3rd Infantry Regiment known as the Old Guard. Founded back in 1960, they're the only unit of their kind in the armed forces.
他们穿着当时大陆军的这种服装，然后呢敲着战鼓，有点像那个时代的作战的那种方式。实际上，你看他们背着枪嘛，那个枪这以前呢是这个滑膛枪，但是后来实际上他们背的呢就是叫做美国长步枪的这种，世界上第一种的那个来福枪，就是它可以比较精准瞄准，可以实现了这个狙击手的作用。那前面正在骑马走过的人，就是所谓的这个乔治·华盛顿的那个一个扮演者，他也就是向这个总统和主席台致敬。
那接下来大家将要看到的是美国陆军的伞兵队金骑士。
They open their main canopy simultaneously and negotiate the softest possible landing.
他们将使用特殊的封住滑翔装置进行降落。
他们是应该准确的降落在主席台附近吧，主席台前。
大家现在看到了，就是金骑士啊，他们已经从空中降落，从天而降。
现场的感觉，现场的气氛也非常热烈啊！这是
对啊，
已经30多年来第一次的这个阅兵，实际上对美国人来说也是非常期待的。我看有很多那个就是刚才那个新唐人电视台采访的一些人，他也是觉得哇，总是想要看一下嘛，就是觉得美国这是世界第一强的军队，却从来不太在国人面前演示，
是，你看他们滑翔下来的时候，它后面都有这个烟雾器。其实，在很多军事这个表演中，包括战斗机表演中，都通过这种烟雾啊，增强这个视觉效果。那看起来现场是比较嗨的。这其实是我第一次看金骑士的现场表演，感觉还是很不一样啊。
金骑士的好像据说挑选的非常严格，3年就要换一批人。哦。这是美国的这个第三季。
Sumter in 1861, a nation divided. Over 4 brutal years, nearly 2 million
现在进入了
soldiers
这
fought to
个
preserve
国内战争
the
时期
Union. Among them, 5 future
南北战争，
presidents
我们就
and the first
中国大陆
recipients of a brand
中国人
new
都称为南北
military
战争。
decoration,
那
the
这也是
Medal of
美
Honor.
国最惨烈的这个